Welcome to another episode of Create.Learn.Implement podcast, aka CLI podcast, with me, Coyetta. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. It's been great weather, but I also hope that you guys have been catching up on the latest episodes and really implementing them in your life and business, hence the name Create.Learn.Implement. And today it's another great episode with an amazingly talented young woman. Okay, an amazingly talented woman, Sheronna Osbourne, who you will learn more of on the other side. But let me tell you, as a fellow Scarborough kid, if you are from Toronto, Canada, you know where that is. I am super proud of this group of people that are doing it in film. So stay tuned for Sheronna Osbourne on the other side. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions, like how do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. So when I thought about starting a podcast, I had no idea how it worked. I don't know how I came across Anchor, but I did, and it was free and it was 100% easy to use. And I love to use it to connect to my audience. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. We all know content is an important part of social media. But do you find that you draw a blank when it's time to create content? Do you find that no one is buying your product? You're not getting any leads? Do you find that you don't really understand the core purpose of a content, which is why you have difficulty posting content? Well, if you're ready to get off the struggle bus and to learn how to create content effectively, then it's time you join the Content Keys Masterclass. I'm going to teach you how to create valuable content that will get you visible and attract people who are ready to buy. Hit the link in my bio to sign up. Class is on May 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Sign up now to receive the bonus strategic content calendar. I hope to see you there. All right, guys, we'd like to welcome Ms. Sheronna Osbourne to the podcast, to the CLI podcast. If you don't know who Sheronna is, she's an actress, director, producer, writer. You are many things.
Yes.
You are. So for my audience that doesn't know who you are, can you just let us know a little bit about Sheronna?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, first of all.
Welcome.
And yes, I'm Sheronna Osbourne. My people call me Roni. I am an actress, director, writer, producer, and costume designer.
Yes.
Yes. And I have a production company called Crossfield House Productions, where we produce, write, direct film and theater.
Perfect. I love it. And we'll touch on that a little bit later.
Absolutely.
But, Sheronna, people often think that people in high positions, came from a silver spoon, or had it easy. So can you tell us a little bit about Sheronna growing up?
Sheronna growing up, well, I'm an only child, so entertaining myself.
Okay, this all makes sense to me now.
I'm no stranger to dancing in the mirror and having one-woman shows. So it really does all make sense. But I've come from a very loving and supportive family.
Mhm.
And I was always just a very curious kid, very free spirited. Travel was introduced into my life very early, and it became a very quick love affair, early in my life. And I realized that my love for travel and exploration kind of formed who I am as a person, as
Yeah.
an adult, in terms of like my desire for discovery, my desire to constantly be a student of life. I realized that that really did stem from being young and seeing different parts of the world, and something that I continue to this day. But yeah, overall, I was that girl. I was definitely the fashion kid who would rip up my mom's old jeans and dresses and make my new outfit, and
Yep.
all that type of stuff. And yeah, I have not really strayed very far from that. I'm still that person, I guess.
You know what? I often say, you know, businesses are inside of us. We often like, have
Mm,
been doing it for a while and we don't even realize.
yeah,
So it's just
totally.
yeah, it's just about falling back in love with those things for you to realize that that is indeed a purpose, and something you could make money from. So you capitalize on that, which is perfect.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I try.
How did you discover that you had a love for acting?
Oh man, I think honestly, I first discovered my love for acting in elementary school.
Yeah.
I went to school downtown Toronto, and I was auditioning for the school play every year. I think my first play was The Little Mermaid or something. And I was just, an ensemble cast member. So very humble beginnings. I didn't start out as the lead role. But it was just something I was like, man, like I love being on a stage,
Yeah.
talent shows, that kind of thing. When I got to high school, it continued. And I was in, the school musicals and that kind of thing, drama class. And then after high school, it got a little tricky for me because I didn't know how to become an actress. I didn't know how to
Yeah.
make that a career.
Yeah.
All I knew was like, oh, the expectation is that I go to college or university and, figure something out. And so it just so happened that fashion is equally a part of my life. And I ended up going to college for fashion business. And while I was in college, whenever there was a break in college or anything like that, I would always just, pick up an acting class. I was
Yeah.
just trying to figure it out. I would go to these, talks and seminars about acting and performing, but I still felt like very alone. I didn't have an agent, I didn't have actor friends.
Mhm.
But I always knew it was just something inside of me, just in my spirit, that just kept pulling me to that art form. And then after college, I was introduced to the film union and realized that I can get a fashion job within the film and TV world.
Right.
So I was placed in a position where my two loves were literally coming together, which I thought was really cool and interesting and very timely and ordained.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I had been working behind the scenes, doing costumes and just watching and observing these actors and seeing what they do. And I was like, man, like I still really want to do this. And then I just continued to train and eventually got an agent. And yeah, it's pretty much been that ever since.
Perfect. So what do you say to that little black girl that wants to, walk through that door? Where do you tell her to start?
You know, I would tell her to start in her room and
Okay.
with her friends,
Mhm.
meaning we're in a time where you don't have to have a long, extensive resume to be an actress. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
If it's in you, write something, or if you see something, on TV that you love, a character, redo that scene for yourself. Write a little 2-minute play or a monologue, and record yourself on your cell phone, just so you could see what it looks like and feels like, and what you sound like.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, you don't have to wait to have an agent or anything like that. I would just say to explore, to start, which is something I didn't know for myself back in the day. I thought everything had to be very clear and perfect, and in order for me to start, or in order for me to confidently call myself an actress, it took me years to confidently call myself an actress, because of course the first thing people want to know, oh, what have I seen you in? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, nothing yet, but it's what I want to do. Where now we're in a different time. So to that little girl, it's just like, yeah, if you want to act, just act.
Just act.
Just act.
Yeah. And YouTube is a big thing. Like the world is so different now.
Absolutely, exactly. You can make
Yeah.
your whole own show on YouTube.
Issa Rae.
Hello, okay, HBO. Okay.
Can you actually remember the day that you decided to take it seriously, to like, say it with your chest, I'm an actress? Do you remember that day?
Oh my, to say it with my chest.
I, Sheronna Osbourne, am an actress.
Probably, you know what? Probably after I did my first play with my company,
Yeah.
which was only in 2017.
Yeah.
I had gone from, not really doing too much, not having too much experience, to playing the female lead, and all this like responsibility of the show kind of fell on me. And I was like, oh, I need to like rise to the occasion. And then having the show, it was called A Little White Lie, and getting, standing ovations and selling out all the shows and all that kind of stuff just on our first try. I was like, wow, like I can really do this. Like I'm a whole actress out here, but I'm such a advocate for training. It's really a muscle. And so I stay in a class, child. I love acting classes. I love to elevate my craft. So it's like, I say it with my chest. Yes, I'm an actress, but I'm always, a student of the art first.
Love that. Love that. And the little A Little White Lie, you guys recorded that as well. It was a movie.
Yes. So we did a short film adaptation. It was also our first film. So we did the film in 2019, titled the same thing, A Little White Lie. And yeah, that was awesome. Again, it was kind of like, oh, here we are making our own movie. Like we could do this. Is this really happening right now?
I must say, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we filmed it in my house, and I did the costumes because that's what I do.
Right.
And had all of our friends just kind of help out where they could, and we made it happen.
And it was a great short film. I actually was there. My cousin was the DJ. Like it was like, okay, this is happening. I was,
oh my gosh,
yeah,
really?
as a Black woman, I felt really
Oh,
proud.
I love that.
Yeah,
Thank you
so
so much.
more than welcome.
Wow.
I had a great time. So thank you guys for that. Can you actually tell me how you came to form Crossfield House Productions?
Yeah, so my business part, so I have 4 other business partners. It's a company of 5, 4 women and 1 man. So
Love that.
yeah, right. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
So Troy Crossfield, Tisha Reed, Adila Carter, and Tasia Harris are my business partners. And basically, Troy pretty much is the founder, in the sense of he's the one that initially got a group of friends together to do the first play. And it was kind of like, hey guys, I wrote this show and I kind of want to do it. And once we saw, and this again was in 2017, and once we saw the impact that the show had on the city and the culture and our peers and our family members, and people were like, oh my gosh, when's the next one? We were just like, hey, when is the next one? And so that's when we we got serious about the company and was like, okay, let's do another one, and then
Yeah.
by Little Black Lie, which essentially was the part 2, I started to take on a larger role regarding the writing and co-directing side of things. And so we were still in the world of theater at that time. And the pandemic really pushed us into film. We knew film was a place we wanted to go, but it was such new territory for us. We're just learning, figuring things out as we go.
Yeah.
But the pandemic, we were able to secure just some small grants, for artists and stuff in the city at that time. And
Yeah.
we were like, okay, let's make this, this short film here and do this short film there. And we did it, and it was great. And we were like, oh, we're a whole like production company for real. And so now we confidently boast that title.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. But you have to, right? You have to, as I said, say it with your chest.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And as a Black woman, how difficult has it been for you to establish yourself in this industry, in Canada, especially?
Honestly, it's a daily thing. I don't personally feel like I'm super established by any means.
Right.
I'm so green, so new. There are wonderful fellow filmmakers, Black women filmmakers out here who have been doing it longer than I have, who I admire, who, I'm friends with, and all of that. So I'm really just like a sponge learning, but it's still a constant, fight, like you, in a sense of, I can never, the way we're saying, say it with your chest. It's like, I've learned that I have to just get used to that.
Absolutely.
I have to get used to confidently going into rooms and telling all of my titles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that to me is the particular thing that Black women have to make sure that we do, because it's less common. It's
Yeah.
still less common, especially in Canada, in Toronto.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's still something that I'm working on daily, but I've just learned, like, even in my costume life, like I work for the film union, which is still predominantly very white.
Yes.
You know, and I've had to say to jobs in the past, like, hey, I'm here, but I only have this much capacity for your show because I run my own company, and that is my priority.
Yeah.
Like, I've had to leave jobs if they weren't cool with that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
wow.
I had to do that for myself as an artist, because I was like, at the end of the day, when I'm gone, you're going to do exactly what you're going to do, which is replace me. And it's not going to be no emotional decision. Therefore, I have to make a decision for myself, and now it's different. Now when I go on shows, it's like, hey, Sheronna, I know you're busy with your stuff. Let us know what your availability is.
Okay.
So the conversation is different because I had to establish that from early.
You have to assert yourself. I love that.
Hmm.
Love that. You have visited Tyler Perry's studio. What was that like?
Well, okay.
Let's talk about it.
So I've visited the exterior of Tyler Perry's studio.
That's okay. You were still there.
Right? Okay. I've gone a few times,
Okay,
but
there we
that,
go.
we are a company of faith, girls. So listen, we just walk on the territory and know that we will possess it one day.
Yes.
Every time uh, my company and I go to Atlanta for various reasons, we always stop there and we just walk on the grounds where visitors are allowed to go. And, we just declare and say a prayer and just be like, this is inspiration. This is what we want to have one day for ourselves. This is where I will come to work one day. You know what I mean? In multiple
Yes.
capacities. So that has been the experience, and it's interesting that you asked that, because on the last visit, my business partner and I, Troy, we made a decision that we're not going to go back until we're working there.
Okay. Okay.
So it's kind of just like, stepping up the faith a little bit, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which I just feel is so required, especially when you're just, when you have big dreams.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so the next time you ask me that question, I'll be able to tell you what it's like on the inside.
Okay. Okay. I'll hold you to that.
Yes.
You know what? I love that you guys carry your faith. I love that it seems to be like a major part of who you guys are, and a bunch of Scarborough kids doing the thing like that is so inspirational to me.
Thank you.
I celebrate you guys always, for sure.
Thank you.
With your experience in the Canadian industry, and just kind of getting a taste of that American industry, do you think that the industry gatekeepers are losing their grip, since Black media is huge, especially in America?
Oh yeah, for sure. And we are, you know, truthfully, most of our inspiration comes from what we've been seeing
Yeah.
through, the Issa Rays and, you know, um, so many others, just independent companies. We watched a few years ago um, a a um, a YouTube series, like a short series,
Hmm.
with a whole Emmy. You know what I mean? Just from YouTube. So it's like the gatekeepers are definitely losing their grip, and we are here for it. You know what I mean? It's like no longer do you only have to hold your breath for the big networks to notice you,
Right.
with
Yep.
streaming and just even the power of film festivals,
Mhm.
all of that kind of stuff. And the fact that, like I said before, as an actor, it's the same thing as a production company. You don't have to necessarily have a long, extensive resume, or, everyone is so interested in the new, fresh thing.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to have a piece of discovering, the new raw talent out there. So we're just trying to capitalize on that as artists. And it's definitely like boosted our confidence as creators.
Absolutely. I've even
Mhm.
seen a couple of you guys on TV shows. I was like, what? Okay. Outside of a Crossfield production. So I thought, wow, that's amazing. You guys, you're still doing your thing.
Absolutely.
You guys, to me, are the embodiment of Issa Rae's statement she made when she said, um, it's like when you're trying to work with people, you should look within your circle.
Yes, network across.
That's right, network across. And you guys, to me, um embody that. So as a Black creator, which is what I would consider you guys, how do
Mhm.
you, how do you hold space for others that are coming up in the industry? I know you said you're still green, but how do you hold space for that, that man or that woman that wants to, become, maybe a producer or a director?
Yeah, I mean, that is probably the biggest blessing for me when
Mhm.
it comes to owning a production company.
Yeah.
It's the ability to hire people,
Yes. Yes.
um, the BIPOC community, whatever. And it's just like, so every time we do a project where it's, either film or theater, we are always working with new talent,
Yeah.
people who are doing something for the first time, or people who have done it a couple times but are still learning in all facets. So from our camera people to our sound people to our actors, you know what I mean, to
Yeah.
our editors, like, and that is something that we thrive on, you know what I mean, because we know firsthand what it feels like I said earlier,
Yeah.
coming up and discovering that I was interested in acting. I didn't have a community. I didn't know where to go. I didn't have actor friends. You know what I mean? I wasn't a part of any clubs. So I was on my own, just figuring it out. You know what I mean? And so for Crossfield House to be a place where somebody who doesn't have anything on their resume but is eager to learn and willing to put in the work, we welcome that and we love that. I always say one of my favorite jobs within the company is casting,
Yeah.
because it's like, man, I know as an actress firsthand, I
Mhm.
know the feeling of like wanting to book, so it brings me such joy to be able to send that email or make that phone call and be like, hey, congratulations, you got the role, because I know what that feels like as an actor.
Mhm.
So yeah, so even as we grow and we establish ourselves more and more, we're always down to work and build a community of fellow Black and people of color creatives.
Absolutely. It's a community for sure.
Mhm.
Now, you directed a film called Boxed In. Tell me about that process.
Yes, so Boxton is such a special project to me for a few reasons.
Yeah.
Um, for one, it is the first the first film that I directed outside of Crossfield House Productions. So,
Mhm.
when it's your own stuff, you kind of have a bit of a comfort or a bit of
Yeah.
a cushion there in terms of, you know what I mean? Because it's like you're calling all the shots. Oh, if I don't like
Yeah.
the line, I fix the line because I wrote the line. Like,
Right.
whatever
Yeah.
that is, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when the writer and producer of Boxed In came to me, her name is Nicole Christostomary, and she came to me and she had saw me on another project, and she said, I'd love for you to direct my movie. And I was like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
sure. You know what I mean? Because, that had been a part of my, secret prayers,
Yeah.
that I want to direct more and get better at it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the project is beautiful. It is pretty much the story of a young Black girl who's her and her family moved to a predominantly white neighborhood, and she just kind of goes through some obstacles with friends at school regarding her hair and her skin tone and that type of thing. But it's very you know um a self-love type of film,
Mhm.
that explores just, what those conversations are like, despite, coming from a very loving home, and just the insecurities that come at an early age at times, and how to overcome that, and how love and family dynamic and allyship um, from unexpected people ends up strengthening this young girl and giving her the confidence that she needs to continue. So it's a beautiful, beautiful story, and it's being submitted to a number of festivals this year. So yeah,
Yes.
hoping for the
Yes.
best.
Yes. I will believe in faith with you guys.
Yes, thank you.
You are more than welcome. And I know you have another project coming up, upcoming tour for the
Mhm.
play called 94. So tell us some more about that.
Yes, so 94 is also very, very dear to my heart as well. Um, Troy and I co-wrote this play. We wrote it in 2019,
Mhm.
like literally right before the pandemic. We were just so inspired by our favorite era, which is the 90s,
Yes.
and the music, the fashion, the vibe, the culture, all of that. So it's a coming of age love story between these two characters who pretty much meet. They're Canadian, but they both meet in the summer of 84
Mhm.
in New York, young summer love, and then they get separated for various reasons, and they link back up in the summer of 1994. And they're just trying to navigate their lives as young adults, and navigate whether or not they could have a relationship or not.
Mhm.
And there's some history and some gems and some facts that are kind of sprinkled throughout the show. And then, the backdrop of it is just the vibes of the 90s. So the music, the references, the costumes are really fun because it's all, that time period. And yeah, it's just a really fun, family friendly show.
I love that. Do you think
Mhm.
this one has the potential as well to become a short film?
We have danced with the idea multiple times and we're not against it at all. Yeah, it totally does. It totally does. So it would just be a matter of what direction we go. But truthfully, I could see it being like a TV series, it's
Okay,
like a
okay.
period TV series. So
Yes,
yeah,
like the Insecure.
right, like along those lines, but it's set in the 90s,
Yes, I
so
love
then you'll
that.
start to incorporate new characters, of course, different
Mhm.
dynamics, and that type of vibe. So we'll see. Who knows what the future holds?
Listen, Sharona, I'm believing with y'all, okay? Because
Yes,
that was
thank
really
you.
dope. You're more than welcome. I'm a woman of faith, so
Amen.
let me
I
tell you,
love
there's yeah, we just have to make a lot of faith moves. I feel like this year, last year, this year has been a lot of faith moves, meaning you're moving by faith. You don't even know how.
that.
You just know your faith is gonna make it happen, right?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. So I'm going to touch back on the tour, but I want you to tell me, as an actress, you have so many different roles. So before you go on stage, what is a ritual or routine that you go through to kind of calm you down, hype you up, whatever, whichever way you're going?
Well, before anything I do, prayer is also always involved.
Yes.
So I definitely probably take some alone time, because when I'm in that environment, I'm often more than just an actress. I'm, doing the costumes. I'm making sure the other cast members are good. I'm making sure, the directing is on point, all the props, all those things. So when it comes to me having my time, everyone knows to kind of like leave me alone for at least like an hour before the show,
Right.
just so I could get my own mind right. And yeah, for me, it's about prayer. It's about just like self talk too. Like I look at myself in the mirror and I just say, like, you got this, and I just remember and remind myself that the dreams that I have inside of me, I didn't put them there. Um,
Yeah.
and if God put them there, then He also gave me the capacity to handle them.
The whole word.
So, right?
Yeah.
So that takes the pressure off of me
Mhm.
as a flawed human. It's like, oh no, God, you did all this. So you're not going to make me fall a little crazy out here. You know what I mean? So that's really what I do to just take the pressure off of me. And then, I love to listen to music and just, have a vibe. And theater is so beautiful because you hear the energy of the crowd.
Yeah.
You start to hear the music playing and people are getting excited, and then it just gets you excited, and I just say to myself, I've done the work as an artist and now it's time to play and have fun, and whatever happens happens, and you just leave it on the stage.
I love that. I love that. Yeah,
Mhm.
everybody has their process, and you just got to do what works for you and what leave it on the floor, as they would say.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, 94, where can we go catch the play? What cities were you at?
Yeah, so we are slated to do a four-city tour. So we're starting in Halifax. We will be in Halifax at the Spats Theater on May 14th, and then we will be in Buffalo on May 27th and 28th. And we are also doing Detroit and Ottawa. We don't have the dates for those cities yet. And then we will finish the show do a finale show, of course, in Toronto, bring it back home. We're aiming for the fall, so early fall, probably in October. dates and info to come on our website. Crossfieldhouseproductions.com is where you can find ticket info and more about the show and more about the tour. But yeah, we're super excited to hit these cities, and we're especially excited to bring it back to Toronto at the end.
I love that. And at home. I love it.
Yes.
Ms. Sheronna Osbourne, it's been a pleasure. So if anyone wanted to get in touch with you, perhaps to write or produce, where can they find you in particular?
Yeah, so you could email me at info@sheronaosbourne.com. You can hit me up on socials. My handle is at your Sheronna on Instagram, Twitter. That's normally where I'm at. And slide in my DM, holler at me, or send me an email, on the professional vibe. And yeah, it's all good. I'm down to work and collaborate.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate that. And I will be applauding and cheering you guys on for that tour, and for everything, really, because I love to see us win. So
yes, thank you. And congratulations on your platform as well. You're doing awesome.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. It's for us. It's for us.
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Take care. Thanks.
You as well. You're welcome.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another great episode. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, as all these things help to keep the podcast alive. Take care. Until next time.